Hello. So we're doing Warmup2, countXX. So with this problem, what we have to do is we have to count the number of xx in the given string. So the string xx, we have to count the number of that. We'll say that overlapping is allowed, so XXX contains 2xx. Let's look at the first example. We have a string abcxx. So here we're looking for the string xx, and there is a case of that in there. So we would return 1. Now for the string xxx, here we have xx, and then we also have x. Okay, so just in case you see that, we have the first two x's in there, right? And then we said the problem says that this string could be overlapping, and it'd be overlapping so we'd have that, and then we also have this option. See? So here we would return 2. Right? Make sense? Okay. So to do this, we're going to need a count variable. This integer is going to keep track of the number of xx in the given string. So we're going to set a for loop, initialize it to 0, and we're going to keep going until str.length, the length of the string, minus 1. Why minus 1? That'd be apparent shortly. So we're going to say, if this is the way I'm going to do it, if x.char at I is equal to I.I x, and say that xchar at I plus 1 is equal to x count plus plus. And then at the very end of this, we're going to return our count variable. So I'm going to run this, and it doesn't work. Why? Huh, interesting. Oh, there's no x, right? It's str, sorry. Yep, string. And does it work? Yep, it works perfectly. Okay. So what's going on here in this body, right? Let's trace through it real quick. And y is str length minus 1. Why aren't we going to the full extent of the string? We're not going to the full extent of the string. Well, technically we are, but technically we're not. Because if we were to set this to, let's say, just str.length, we would have an exception out of bounds error. As you can see right here, we access a part of the string outside the length of the string. How did that happen, right? Does that even make sense? You know, the best way to figure that out is by just tracing through it. So we're gonna start from the for loop, right? So we're gonna say I is equal to 0. We're working with a string, let's say 2, or no, sorry, xxx. Yeah, we're gonna work with that one, and we're gonna say, let's say, yeah, we're gonna say count to 0. Okay. So is I less than the length of the string? Let's see, we're gonna set length equal to 3. Is I less than 3? Yes, it is, right? So we're gonna execute the body. So here we're gonna check to see that if str that char at I keep in mind I is equal to 0 if it's equal to x, right? And in our case, it is, right? So we have one part of our condition checked, okay? Now, is str.char at I plus 1 equal to x? It is equal to x, okay? I plus 1 would be checking the next character in the string, which would be the middle x, right? So it is. So now we're going to do count plus plus. Count is now equal to 1. Okay. Now we're going to increment I by 1. So now I is equal to 1. Our count is now 1, and we're going to check to see if I is less than 3, which is our length of our string. It is. So we're going to check the string at char at I. We're going to see if it's equal to x. So we're looking at the middle x here, right? And it is an x. So we're going to continue, and we're going to check our next condition to see if str.char at I is I plus 1 is equal to x. So now we're comparing the very last one, correct? And it is. Now we're going to do count plus plus. Okay. Now we're going to increment I is now equal to 2. We're going to check count is equal to 2 now. We're going to check if I is less than 3. It is. We're going to check if str.char at I is equal to x. So now we're looking at the last x in the string. So it is an x. Now we're going to check str.char at I plus 1 to see if it's equal to x. So I is equal to 2, and we're checking, or 0, 1, 2. Okay. I is equal to 2, right? I is right here. I is equal to 2, and we're checking in our first condition to see if str.char at I, which is 2, if char at 2 is equal to x, it is equal to x. Okay. And now we're going to check if str.char at 2 plus 1, which is equivalent to 3, is equal to x. And as you can see, we don't have another placement for that variable. I mean, yeah, you know, we don't have an index 3. So Java is checking an index that is outside of the scope of the variable, and that's when an exception comes into play. We get an error message because our program is checking an index that is not within the scope of our string. So to counteract that, what you do is you stop one iteration before, okay? And you do that by just subtracting 1 from the total of iterations that you want to go through. So we would just simply delete this, right? In the case that I is less than str.length minus 1, we would stop here, simply. So it'd be 3 minus 1. have no, because 3 minus 1 is 2, and I is equal to 2. If this is a little bit confusing, or if you have any questions or concerns, leave them in the comment section, and or shoot me an email. I'll be sure to get back to you. Have a great day.